Well, that you see behind me is the famous Dead Sea. Now, the Dead Sea is the lowest elevation in the world. We're actually 430 meters below sea level. The sea itself, it goes as deep as about 320 meters or so. So that's almost about a kilometer below sea level. Now, this is a quite a unique place. Right across behind me is the West Bank, and I am on the shores of Jordan. It's 10 times more salty than a regular ocean or a sea is. And just so there's no confusion, this is not actually a sea. This is indeed, in fact, a lake. The floating sensation, you can only really get it here in the Dead Sea. I can confirm that you can definitely float in the Dead Sea. Now we're right outside the hotel, about to set off for Petra, and now we're going to take these rides on a grueling journey on the ancient sites of Jordan. And now we're in Wadi Arabah, as it's called. It's a huge wadi as far as the eye can see. The roads can be quite perilous. They haven't been so far, but soon we're going to be taking the road up those the mountains in the very, very far distance over there. And but for the time being, Infinity have set up this little oasis where we have cold drinks and coffee and all our QX80s actually right in the back. And the one that I'm driving, the QX80 Limited, it's brand new. I think it had about 7 kilometers on the clock when I got in it. It's just as comfortable driving it on the highways of Dubai as it is in these should we call the Jordanian outback. Now here we are in our next stop in the ancient city of Petra, known to its inhabitants in the ancient days as Raqmu. It's an historical and archaeological site, and that's precisely why we're here. They say people settled here in 9000 BC, so extremely ancient. You get the feeling that these the Nabataeans lived rather for the afterlife than anything else. They call it the facade, but they're all burial sites here. The royal, they would be buried in these larger, more magnificent graves, so to speak. Tombs, let's say. The Nabataeans also had a theater that looked very much like Greek and Roman theaters, as a matter of fact. Well, the Nabataeans, by nature, they were carvers. Among being traders, they were carvers, and that's one of the main reasons they chose this place, because of the kind of rock there is. In Indiana Jones and the Last Crusader, they actually go in here and look for some treasures, I believe, but actually this isn't a treasury as it is known. It is actually a tomb of one of the Nabataean kings. I think in the last 20 years or so they discovered more tombs down here after they dug it, so it is widely accepted that this is indeed a tomb and not a treasury. Now, this ancient city is one of the most barren places on earth. It's in the middle of a desert. It's extremely dry. There's hardly any vegetation around, and the Nabataeans had to figure out a way of getting water here, and they had 2 very clever ideas indeed. Number 1 was this water canal here. You can kind of see it. It brought down collected rainwater, which would be used for washing and household chores and what have you. And then on the so that would be on my left, let's say, what I just showed you, and on my right they had the one for drinking water, and that was actually provided by ceramic piping. And you can actually see some of the ceramic piping that's still left here. I'm gonna kind of bend here and show you. This is part of it, and there. So that is the way, that is how they sorted out to get water here. So So I'm actually in the tomb now, and yes, it is a cave, as I suspected. They would bury it there, and then they would close it down, close it up to protect it from the tomb raiders. But then this area here, there's a huge area here. This would be the dining room for the people close to the buried. So they would come here and eat, wine and dine. Well, I don't know, let's just say they would dine in celebration of the ones who'd passed. Now you might be able to see in the distance that kind of right behind me there, and then all the way to the corner over there, they are full of huge, humongous royal tombs. The afterlife, you're there for eternity, whereas in life expectancy in the Nabataean days, probably didn't get many years past 65, to be honest. Now, it's very rare that a structure of this sort should survive for 2,000 plus years, because the Greeks and the Romans have something very, very similar, but all their structures have been ruined because they were freestanding structures, whereas in the Nabataeans they carved this into the to the side of a hill, a mountain, so it's a lot more sturdy and it hasn't disappeared. Good morning.